They've done quite a number of things for this country. Yes. Inaugural lecture number 13 from the Department of Mathematics, Professor Aminu Alhaji Ibrahim, the immediate past rector of Umar Ali Shinkafi Polytechnic, gave inaugural lecture number 13. It is my pleasure to announce the arrival also of Professor Mohammed Aminu Mode, Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Shehu Shagari University of Education. You are welcome, sir. So for several years, he has been the chairman of the Student Union Electoral Committee of this university. Please, a round of applause for him. Inaugural lecture number 15, also from the College of Health Sciences, was delivered by Professor Ismaila A. Mungadi, also a world-renowned surgeon. It is my pleasure to announce the arrival of the family of Professor Ahmed Bako. The lovely wife is here, Haja Ane Umar. Haja, you are welcome to our midst. She's here with some of the kids. Inaugural lecture number 16 was presented by our immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor Lawa Suleiman Bilbis. Please, let's give him a round of applause. After him, the number 17. Please, the professors that are in the auditorium, you are please requested to proceed to the Ruby room for Ruby. The professors that are here with us, kindly move to the Ruby room. Professor Simon Isaac Isezo, also of the College of Health Sciences, presented inaugural lecture number 17 with the topic, People Living with Hypertension. Number 18 was presented by my sister from another mother, Professor Asabe Kabir Usman of the Department of English and Literary Studies. Being the list of the representatives of the Igbo community that are here with us today. The first on the list is Prince Ima Oeze, the representative of Uaneze Igbo. Can you please stand up for representation for recognition? You are welcome. We also have Chief Donald Chukwu, the president of Igbo Community Sokoto. You are welcome. Although from today's lecture, we are not expecting any legal implications, notwithstanding, the Igbo Community Legal Advisor is here with us in person of Barrister Kelechi Ogbonna. Barrister, you are welcome. We rest assured that you will not have the opportunity to serve anybody with court summons in this hall. Thank you. The inaugural lecture number 19 was presented by our late pioneer DVC Research, Innovation and Development, Professor Yusuf Saifu. May Allah also forgive him his sins. While number 20 was presented by the former Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Amin Hussain Mikailu. Standing to my right, left over there is Professor A. Babudo, who presented the inaugural lecture number 45. Please, a round of applause for our teacher too. A former provost of the College of Health Sciences, Professor Shuaibu Orizabello, presented inaugural lecture number 21, while a retired but not tired Professor Abdullahi Bayero Yahya from the Department of Nigerian Languages presented number 22. Professor Daru Muhammad Argungu from the Department of English and Literary Studies presented number 23. We are still waiting for the arrival of the Vice Chancellor and other principal officers. Please, for those of our audience online, bear with us. We are going to start very, very soon. Inaugural lecture number 24 from the School of Medical Laboratory Science was presented by Professor Osaro Irabo. I told you earlier on that inaugural lecture number 25 from the Center for Hausa Studies, Ibia Nazar Hausa, was presented by our mother, Professor Sadia Umar Bello. The Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Gusau, despite the fact that he's a serving Vice Chancellor, we know how busy they are. He presented his inaugural lecture number 26. So for those of our teachers, some of my colleagues, my senior colleagues, I don't think we have any reason to procrastinate if a sitting Vice Chancellor, despite his heavy schedule of duties, can make out time to present his inaugural lecture. Inaugural lecture number 27 from the Department of Biological Sciences was presented by Professor Sanusi Mohammed. While number 28, the first time from the Department of Economics, we had Professor Hussein Usman Malami, who presented number 28. Number 29 was presented by Professor of International Law, the current Dean of the Faculty of Law of this university, Professor Abubakar Sani Ridwan Matazu. While number 30, from the Department of Agricultural Extension Services, Economics and Extension Services, Professor Abdullahi Yahya Abbas. I've been told that the Vice Chancellor is almost within the auditorium. As soon as he comes in, with other members of the high table, as part of our tradition, we are requested to stand up and respect the procession as soon as they come in. Thank you. After Professor Abbas, we had the pleasure of listening to the pioneer Vice Chancellor of Sokoto State University, also a former Vice Chancellor of the University of Abuja, Professor Yakubu OON. He presented inaugural lecture number 31. The procession is as commenced. Professor Lawal Hassan Gusau of the Department of Applied Chemistry presented number 32. Professor S.S. Noma from Faculty of Agriculture presented number 33. While Professor Aminu Balayabu, also of the Department of Biological Sciences, presented number 34. Professor Muawiyah Jibir from Faculty of Agriculture presented number 35, while Professor Aruna Abdullah Beniwa presented number 36. Shall we please rise for the procession? Thank you. The procession is being led by the Director of Academic Affairs of this university, who also the Secretary of the University Committee on Inaugural Lecture and Seminar, Mr. Sunday Abu, who is being followed by the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor S.S. Mohammed. Professor S.S. Ibrahim, followed by Professor M. Bunza, the Director, Center for Peace Studies. Professor Salisu Ahmed Yakasai, presented number 47, the University Librarian, then the DVC Admin, DVC Academics, and of course, the man of the moment, our 10th substantive Vice Chancellor of this university. Can we have the national anthem to be followed by the Widow's anthem, please?
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own and native land. No tribe and tongue may be in God of this land. Nigeria, tall and proud to tell our story for the land. Our flag shall be our seal, that truth and justice reign. In peace from heart to heart, and peace because as gain. To honor to our children, our honor we are Oh God of all creation, that is our one request. Help us to build a nation where all is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria shall be blessed. We are one community, God's blessing our sight, for knowledge and His light. All of creation, bless our mission, we stay in the ambition, far beyond our time. Our life. the pride of the academia, Nigeria's most peaceful university. Unmatched integrity and truth unparalleled in the pursuit of knowledge in the humanities, science and technology. We are Igbo. Yes, we are formidable in our stance for human freedom, dignity, and equality. In the era of civilization, here we are in response to your call, big ground ring. So we combine from pardon here, walking the land, lighting the desert, lighting the sky, warming the seas, the rivers, the sea to the holy. We are flying rivers and the sanctity and triumph of our cause for global peace, justice, and progress. Abide, O youth, abide in the traditions of knowledge, abide in the culture of truth and justice. Exalt, O youth, level in the wings on the Mars.
Thank you very much. The lyrics of Udo's anthem was written and composed by Professor M.T. Mana of the Department of English and Literary Studies, Usman Danfodio University. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the next item now is opening prayer. It is now my pleasure to invite the DVC Administration of Sokoto State University, Professor A.A. Sififa, to please come forward and give us an opening prayer. Professor Sififa, sir.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم انا نسالك من كل خير سالك منه محمد رسولك نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه محمد رسولك نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم احسن عاقبتنا في الامور كلها واجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الاخره. الفاتحه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. اياك نعبد واياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين انعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, let me, on behalf of the University Committee on Inaugural Lectures and Seminar, formally welcome you to the 5th inaugural lecture of this university, and the first one to be chaired by you as we pilot the affairs of this university for the next 5 years. We wish you a very successful tenure, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. '50th inaugural lecture, not the 5th, sir. On my immediate left is Professor Salisu Ahmed Yakasai of the Department of Nigerian Languages, who presented inaugural lecture number 47. Sir, please stand up for recognition. Then the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Shehu Sidi Ibrahim. A round of applause for him, sir. Then, of course, he acted for almost 1 month as a Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor M.G. Mahuta. You are welcome, sir. Then, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor M.M. Mishanu, who presented inaugural lecture number 41. Then the University Librarian, Dr. A.K. Nobu. From the Department of History and International Studies, and also the Director, Center for Peace Studies, Usman Danfodio University, Professor Mukhtar Umar Bunza. The Dean, Faculty of Chemical and Life Sciences, Professor A.I. Safi. Then the Director of Academic Affairs, the Secretary of the Inaugural and Seminars Committee, Usman Danfodio University. A while ago, while we were having the introduction, the former Vice Chancellor of this university, who has also presented his inaugural lecture, came in. Please, let's put our hands together for Professor Aminu Saliu Mikailu, who presented inaugural lecture number 20. You are welcome, sir. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before you came in, Mr. Vice Chancellor, I announced that the Igbo community are well represented here today. We have the representative of our Neze Igbos, Prince Ima Ueze, then the president of Igbo Community Sokoto, Chief Dona Chukwu, and the Igbo Community Legal Advisor, Barrister Kelechi Ogbonna. I announced earlier on that the topic for today's lecture has no any political inclination, it's just an academic exercise. Mr. Chairman, sir, invited guests, the next item now is number 5, the chairman's opening remarks. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Great Nigerian students, great Nigerian students, this is our 10th substantive Vice Chancellor, Professor Bashir Garba, member of the Federal Republic. The immediate past Vice Chancellor of the Sokoto State University. A former director of Sokoto Energy Research Center, former secretary to Sokoto State Government, and former commissioner for higher education, Sokoto State. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على النبي الكريم. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor M.G. Mahuta, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor M.M. Mishanu, and you can abbreviate it to MQ, Professor MQ. You can scientifically put it in that form. The deans and directors, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration of Sokoto State University, I beg your pardon, other members of the university management, the chairman of the university inaugural lecture and seminar committee, and other members of the committee, the distinguished professors and other members of the university community, our celebrant, Professor Ahmed Babu, who is going to present today's lecture, which is historic because we are presenting the 50th lecture in the series. And anything that has attained the age of 50 deserves to be celebrated. Maybe that is why he decided to wait until we get to this special number. Because I learned that he has been the chairman of the inaugural lecture committee for so many years, and he has been encouraging our colleagues to be presenting the lecture. And you can see one of the significance and importance of this lecture. The MC has started demonstrating it. In his acknowledgement of participants or the audience, you can see he was paying more emphasis to those who have presented their inaugural lectures. So there is a new academic hierarchy now. You're not only being a professor, but a professor that has presented his inaugural lecture. Our celebrant today is one of the most senior academics in this university in terms of experience. He has been in this university for not less than 4 decades, imparting knowledge and conducting research. I can recall when I was admitted for my first degree in this university, I used to see then Mala Ahmed Babu, very energetic, up and doing, and looking very young at that time. Sometimes I used to mistakenly regard him as a student, until when you see him talking with authority and giving directives, then you know that he's not a student like you. So he's very experienced and has produced quite a number of intellectuals. One of his products here is Professor A.C. Power, who is already a professor and a deputy vice chancellor in Sokoto State University. When I was there as the vice chancellor, Professor Sipa approached me to present the first inaugural lecture in the Sokoto State University. And I gave him the go-ahead, but no time. I said, I learned that your boss, Professor Ahmed Bako, is preparing to present his own lecture in the near future. So you have to wait until he takes the lead. So he's the father of all historians, I can say not only in Sokoto State, but also in the neighboring states, if not most of the part of northern Nigeria. So Ahmed Babu is a family name in the Committee of Historians. No history can be completed without mention of Professor Ahmed Babu in the course of historical delivery. So I want to use this opportunity to welcome you all to this 50th inaugural lecture, which is going to be presented, like I said, by Professor Ahmed Babu, who needs no introduction, unless you are out of this university community or you are not a historian. And I guessed, and I think I will guess right, if I said the chairman of our alumni association, who is also a historian, former head of civil service of Sokoto State, I believe he must have passed through Professor Ahmad Babu. So it's a high time now, Professor Ahmed Bago to deliver this lecture and open the way for other academicians, senior academics to present their lecture. I learned that even the Director, Center for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Professor Bonza, has not presented because he's queuing behind Professor Ahmad Bago. So the gate is now open for you immediately after this session. On this note, I want to assure you that inaugural lecture has come to stay in this university. There is no going back and no stepping back, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. No. We may even think of finding a way of doubling the number of presentations that are to be made in a month. So the committee may look into the possibilities and also try to encourage many of our colleagues that have not presented the inaugural lecture to do so. We know the inaugural lecture will enable you to tell your colleagues, the academia, and the general public the direction of your research, what you have been doing, what you have achieved, and the contributions you have made to the society. It is also, though it's expected, that as soon as a professor is promoted or processed, promotion and appointed as professor by a university, it's expected to prepare within 1 year to present his inaugural lecture. So it's inaugural in the sense that your journey to research and community service has just begun. So that's the implication. But if we allow it to stay until we approach our retirement age, then we are not doing good to the community. Even though even after retirement, because of our experiences, we will still be relevant to the society and the community in general. So I want to use this opportunity to welcome Professor Ahmed Bago to this event because today is his day. This is the type of lecture that nobody will ask questions. His authority, even if you are given the chance to ask questions, he can give you more than 10 times the answer he's supposed to give you because it's his chosen specialization and he's an authority there. But there's not going to be questions. So the time for questions and the time for presentations are all put together for Professor Ahmed Bago to enlighten us more on his career development and what he's achieved. So I want to once again welcome all the audience here for finding time to come to grace this occasion. I believe we'll be better informed after his presentation on the relationship between Igbo community and Kano community in commerce. We know we used to call Kanawa as Igbo of the North also. That's why sometimes it's difficult for an Igbo to survive in training and commercial activities in Kano. If I did more Ida and Sokoto, nobody's competing with it. But in Kano, they are aggressively pursuing commercial activities as well. So let's hear from Professor Ahmed Babu what this relationship is all about. I know that it's all going to be positive and peaceful, and it will encourage this commercial relationship between Kano people and Igbo people. So I also welcome the representatives of the Igbo communities that are here. So Ahmed Bago is yours, Ahmed Bago is ours. So I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor, for that opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item now on our agenda is a citation of Professor Ahmed Bako, and it's going to be given by one of his students, Professor A.F. Usman. Professor Ahmed Bako. Can you please usher in Professor Ahmed Bako? Born on the 15th March 1958 in Kano, Professor Ahmed Bako attended, this way. He attended Dala Primary School, Kano from 1965 to 1971. Government College, Kano, 1972 to 1976. Barrio University, Kano, 1976 to 1980. Later which he was at the University of California, United States of America between 1982 and 1984 for his master's degree. In 1987, he was admitted back to Bayero University, Kano for his doctorate degree in history, which he completed in 1990. His doctoral thesis, which was on Sabongeri, Kano, is a masterpiece that has been published into a book form by the Usman Danfodio University Press. In 1981, he was administrative officer at the Kano State Civil Service. He was one of the few lecturers in this university that rose through all the ranks from graduate assistant to assistant lecturer up to the professorial level in 2004. He has, to his credit, 36 published articles in both national and international journals. He has, to his credit also, 2 published books and a number of chapters in collective volumes. Apart from teaching undergraduate and postgraduate level, he has supervised and co-supervised over 80 PA projects, supervised 22 PhDs, and supervised 45 MA dissertations. My own is one of them. Between 1992 and 1994, 2011 and 2012 and 2013 and 2016, he was the head of history department of this university. Was the former deputy dean of the Faculty of Art and Old Islamic Studies, the coordinator of the PG program in history between 1994 to 1999 and 2005 and 2011. He was also the director of the Usman Danfodio University Consultancy Services between 1996 and 2001, the chairman, the pioneer chairman of the famous University Examinations Committee, 1994 to 2001. Between 2007 and 2024, he served as the chairman of the University Inaugural Lectures and Seminar Committees for 17 years. He was a member of Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital Governing Board representing the Senate between 1992 and 1994. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have 17 lecturers in the Department of History and International Studies. Apart from Professor Jumare, all other lecturers are Professor Ahmed Bako students. Like the Vice Chancellor has just affirmed, the DVC of Sokoto State University, Professor A.A. Atairu, is one of his students. The current head of history University of Ibadan, Professor Rashid Olani Oyewole is a student. The Director, Center for Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ilorin, Professor Abdulganiu Ibrahim Jawondo is a student. And to cap it all, the INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu is a student. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if there are two ethnic groups Professor Bako has written on extensively in this country, they are the Igbos and the Yorubas. But his contributions to Igbo literature in this country is immense. He has written quite a lot about them, to the extent that he decided that in order to update all this literature, his inaugural lecture is going to be on the Igbo history with respect to their intergroup relations and commerce in Kano. Mr. Vice Chairman, Vice Chancellor, sir, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Professor Bako to move to the rostrum to present inaugural lecture number 50. He is happily married to Ajia and Umar, and for now, the marriage is blessed with 8 children. Thank you.
In the name of Allah, that was compassionate. Sorry, please. The Vice Chancellor, sir, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, Principal Officers of the University, the Provost College of Health Sciences, Dean of Arts, Deans of other faculties, distinguished professors and scholars, directors and head of department, please. You know, it's not all the age, it's just the type of food that we eat that will always destroy our eyes. My head of department, my friends in academic cycle, staff of Department of History and International Studies, my students past and present from Department of History, my family members, great students of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, members of the press, members of Igbo community here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the opportunity to deliver this lecture. You know, it has been in my mind for so long. When I was the chairman of this inaugural lecture, a lot of people have been sarcastically telling me that I was always asking people to deliver, but I did not deliver. You know, so for quite a long time, honestly, I have been thinking about it, and I think it's only now that Allah, you know, I am giving me the permission, you know, I need to make the presentation. And so I consider it necessary, honestly, to present an inaugural lecture before leaving the system, which is forthcoming, inshallah. Because, you know, it's only people who normally see their retirement, because a lot of people die before retirement. So I hope I will reach that age before I answer the call of Allah. Yes. So this is the second inaugural lecture in the Department of History and International Studies. The first one was presented by our father, Professor Mahdi Adamu. May Allah bless him with his rahmah. And since that time, I think nobody, you know, present an inaugural lecture in the department. The Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to replay, inform the audience how I ended up being here in this university. You know, I graduated in 1980, as mentioned by the, by the orator. You know, after NYSC in Ondo State, Nigeria, Initially, I took appointment as admin officer in Kano State Government. In fact, I was posted to government house. I'm working directly with Governor Bibi. But, fortunately or otherwise, my senior brother, Professor Bello Bako, who is popularly known as Professor Bibi Ambata, who was a one-time vice chancellor in the UK, he insisted that I should please come to Sokoto because that time this university was very young. It's recruiting young graduates, sending them for masters and PhD. So based on that encouragement, I decided to come. And I was lucky to come, and I was given the offer. And since that time, I have been in the Department of History, so which means I've been in the Department of History for 43 years. I've been there for 43 years. And so, Mr. Vice Chancellor, during these years, I taught a lot, wide range of undergraduate and PG courses, and I also supervised, quite a number of postgraduate studies. As since the orator has already said, honestly, I supervised 22 PhDs and 45 master's degree. And I'm sure I supervised about 100 PA, about the citation, projects. I have already, the orator has already said that, Hamoud Yakubu was my student, yes. When I was teaching, he was, it was after I joined this university that he came as a student of pre-degree, so I taught him, along with other people, along with Professor Ali Punza and so many others, so he was one of my students. And I think, let Abba say Duruma of President State also, he was also my student. The former deputy governor of Niger State, Ahmed Beto, I was also my student, so I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These people are occupying very high positions, in the country. The topic of my lecture, which is titled the Igbo factor in the intergroup relations and the commerce in Kano, opportunities and challenges are revisited. It deals with issues that a lot of people are familiar with, especially in recent years, when a lot of stories are being told or rumors are being peddled, in Igbo community in different parts of the country. And what I'm trying to say is that, it seems that, everybody is an expert in telling stories, about Igbo. So many things are being told. Some of these stories are not correct. Of course, some may be correct, So I think this is one of the motivating factors, which I said that, yes, I'm actually trying my best and portray historically, how the community become a president in Kano and the most part of northern Nigeria, because there is no part of northern Nigeria where you will not see, for Igbo, and there's, so this is one of motivating, factor. I said some of such stories are expressed in extreme, prejudice or emotions by not academic and non-historian, even by some members of academic community. If you hear what they will say about Igbo, you'll be surprised because you ask them, how do they know this? Because I think the best way by which an individual knows something is by conducting research. To make sure that yes, whatever you are saying, is correct, is true. So this is the reason why I am doing this. I'm not going to be concerned with current contestations because now there are a lot of contestations, between Igbo and other people in the country. Because Igbo generally they feel that they are people, politically, marginalized. There are a lot of things. So I'm not going to be concerned with these politics. I'm not be concerned with the IPOP. I'm not to be concerned with the all Igbo, political, groups. That's not my concern. My concern is fairly, history, and the paper is fairly historical, not political. It is based on archival and field research for over 10 years. And of course, the intent is to bring to light the root cause of Igbo dominance of the commercial life in Kano. Because definitely, whether you like it or not, Igbo have dominated. They have been dominated since colonial era. They have been dominating the commercial life of Kano. But sometimes they have been playing some dynamic role. that's it. But also there are a lot of conflicts, a lot of conflict, between Igbo people and the Hausa people of Kano. Probably due to wrong perception, and probably due to other reasons. My interest in undertaking this, this research, a research in this area was particularly to probably to my experience when I started secondary school. Before I joined Government College Kano, there was an educational institution that was, established by the then governor of Kano, for Audu Bako. It is called Kano Educational Development Center. This is a center that was financed by Ports Foundation of the United States. So I joined that place in 1971. And I'm luckily, that center, that educational center, it is located in the midst of Igbo population in Kano, because it is located in Sabonge. So which means during my past 2 years of secondary school of education, I said 2 years because this institution, it was disbanded. Probably Post Foundation they stopped financing for the project, because when we started, up during that time, we were over 2,000, I'm a student in the school. So during this 2-year period, I always have to traverse the needs of Igbo people in order to go to school. And secondly, in my class, I was having some Igbo friends. So, this is what really probably started shaping my mind. And, above all, before I joined that secondary school, I have never seen an Igbo. In fact, most people in Kano City, they have never seen an Igbo until after the Civil War, until after 1960s, because everybody is afraid because of the stories that have been told, about Igbo. In fact, we had a lot of stories that, the Igbo people killed Sardauna, because I can remember that one. I think that's what we are taught. So before I joined secondary school, I've never seen Igbo. So the blessing here is that my secondary school, it gave me the opportunity to see Igbo. To see Igbo, probably as a human being like me. So this is it. But so this experience in secondary school, it was what really encouraged me to choose a topic on intergroup relations, in Sabonge, because Sabonge is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multinational, society. There is no Nigerian ethnic group that you cannot find, and also there are nationals, from other countries, from the Holy, from Ghana, from several, all over. So I developed interest in that, and I was lucky that I was having a very good friend. That friend, he was older than me. He's a lawyer. He was named, his name, was Padorans Abu Ezata. He has a chamber, in Kano, up to now, even though he's late. But the chamber is stood there in number 5, Sakinya Road. So this Abu Ezata, he came to Kano after he was discharged from Colonial Army. But still, he was in Kano, he was working in military affairs. Then later, he took London GCE, he passed. Then he joined University of Nigeria, Isuka, and graduated just as the Igbo of Nigerian Civil Law. So he could not go to law school until after the Civil Law. And he still ever returned to Kano. So he was the man, he was the one who, to certain extent, encouraged me to say that, look, Ahmed, try to write something about us, because there are good people, among us, and of course there are, bad people, he didn't say that, but he said that, Igbo people are good, that's it. So probably that's the reason why I undertook this research on Sabonge, this, inter-ethnic relations, and it is, maybe after that I said that, okay, let me try to specialize in a particular aspect, in the history of a single community in Kano. And therefore I choose, the Igbo community, because at that time, a lot of people had written on Yoruba community. So that's why, I decided to pick this area. And, since that time, that has been my area of interest. And in fact, I have encouraged so many students in history department, to write either BA project, MA or PhD, in that area, in different parts of northern Nigeria. I said the first BA project that I encouraged was in 1988. One Hawat, Oparanesi Chubozu, I think she wrote on Igbo community in Sokoto. It is a very nice, project. In fact, I was reading the project some days ago, and it's like, a master's, project. And since then, I've encouraged a lot of people. Currently, I am supervising a PhD work on, Islam in Ebonyi State, because Ebonyi is one of the, Igbo areas with the highest number of Muslims, so that's why, so that's my interest. So now let me go to my lecture, ladies and gentlemen. This lecture, the Vice Chancellor, even though I have at different times in some of my publications raised quite a number of issues that concern Igbo, this lecture offers me the opportunity of bringing some of them together in one place. I will therefore try to avoid, ambiguities in my language, so that my approach will be concise and understandable. As a student of history, it is pertinent for me to start by asking some fundamental questions, because if you want to understand, if you want to analyze issues, you have to understand, you have to ask questions regarding how and why did Igbo come to Kano in the first place? Why did they come to Kano? Not only Kano, why did they come to northern Nigeria? And when? I think that's very, very important. And not only why did they come, why did they decide to stay? Why did they decide not to stay, not to go back? In fact, based on my research and understanding, I feel that Igbo will never leave Kano forever. Even with the threat of creating the Republic of Biafra, they will never leave. They will never leave. And I said I will explain it, I will explain the reasons, later. So then another question is that, to what extent are some of the stories and the allegations against Igbo correct? Why is Kano still attracting the Igbo? Why have they been successful in quite a number of enterprises? Igbo have been very, very successful. There's no doubt about that. They have dominated so many businesses. They marginalized a lot of Hausa people, in textile trade, in furniture business, but the spare part trade is their dominant. So why does they dominate a spare part business? Not only in Kano, even in Sokoto. And then another question is that, did the civil law that was able to leave Kano a blessing to Kanawa? Because there was a Nigerian civil law, and for this civil law, it pushed Igbo out of Kano. And to what extent was this pushing Igbo away from Kano because of the civil law, because of the various riots in northern Nigeria? To what extent did it benefit the indigenous merchant class? Because the issue is that the nature of the operation of Kano indigenous merchant class changed because of the civil law, And then last question is that, what factors forced the Igbo and post-civil law years to build what some scholars term Igbo commercial empire? Because that is what they call the Igbo commercial empire in Kano since the end of the civil law. In fact, now Igbo in Kano, there is an enclave, there's an enclave, along the airport road, just near Panisau. The entire area is they built mighty and fantastic houses. I think that area is nicknamed New Abuja, but they are there, and nobody cares, about them, but they are there, So, the last question is that, will they ever leave Kano or northern Nigeria? I don't know whether I will answer that question or not, So, as the issue of Igbo activities in Kano are so many and extensive, I limited the focus of this lecture mostly to 20th century up to 1999. I said that should be enough. The issues, the changes that took place in this century, there are different issues because it's a change strategy, and also Kanawa have started changing over the strategy. Normally the political situation in the country will normally bring changes even to local communities. And historically, the earliest Igbo arrived Kano in 1911. The first Igbo who arrived Kano in 1911, that's just some 10 years. After the formal conquest of Nigeria by the British government. So Igbo started coming. This, for this about 113 years, those earliest Igbo were those who worked with the settlement of West African Frontier Force. The West African Frontier Force, it was a multi-battalion field force that was created by the British colonial government in order to protect its territories all over West African sub-region. So the earliest Igbo who arrived in Kano in 1911, they were that members. Then also, along them, there were those Igbo who worked in the railway line, who brought railway line to Kano, because railway line reached Kano in 1911. It was extended. So most of the railway workers, in the country, most of them, they are Igbo, that's why they are in Busau, they are in Kauranamuda, they are in Kwamposo, they are in Mina, they are in Mokurdi, there was a metal, railway workers, railway is very, very important, in the history of colonialism in Nigeria, because it was the only way by which the British were able to penetrate and exploit the resources, of the country, because several says that the lack of effective transportation was the major problem of colonialism in northern Nigeria. Because the major interest of Britain, when they came to Nigeria, is northern Nigeria. In fact, in England, they want to get cotton. I said that the main factor that brought them to northern Nigeria, not England, not. Because the Grand North was a later for development, and because they want cotton, So there is a British Growers Association. It was formed in 1902. And this is, this is association of British merchant class. They wanted to come and campaign for the production of cotton in northern Nigeria. The reason they want cotton is because at that time, America, the United States stopped supplying cotton to Lancashire textile industry in England. And textile industry is the backbone of British, economy. That's why they want cotton. So that's why they extended, the railway line. And so this is it. But in general, even though the movement of Igbo started, in 1911 was settlement in Kano, but in actual fact, Igbo migration to not only Kano, but northern Nigeria at large was very, very slow. It's very slow before 1930s. That is about 30 years after colonial rule. And it was extremely slow due to problem of communication between east and north, another part of the country. There was no effective means of communication, of moving from north, to Igbo land and vice versa. So that's why the movement was very, very slow. The 1929 Kano Township population census, for example, it was conducted by colonial government. It did not, mention a single Igbo. So it means Igbo, up to 1930s, there were minority groups in Kano. There were so many Yoruba, there are so many other tribal groups. In fact, there were even more Ghanaians and Sierra Leoneans in Kano than Igbo, up to early 1930. What actually facilitated the movement of Igbo to whole northern Nigeria was the completion or the construction of the Mokurdi Bridge. Because, in 1932, so Mokurdi Bridge was completed in 1932. It was opened to traffic in 1934, and it was from that time that, Igbo now, they were able to get, a way, to come to northern Nigeria. So therefore, railway is extremely important in facilitating the, for the movement, of Igbo. But, apart from railway, because railway is important, what actually accelerated massive Igbo movement to northern Nigeria, at that time and now, and it was the population density and shortage of land in eastern part of Nigeria. There's no question that land is scarce. That's why there is still, mass, conflict, over land, So land is very, very scarce, especially in Owerri and Onitsha, because the Igbo heartland, this is as a major areas at that time, so land was not possible. For example, in 1952, the rural Igbo district had an average population density of 346 persons to a square mile, as against 151 people in Yoruba land, 100 for Midwest, 60 for Northern region. So you can see that large chunk of people who are living in small pieces of land in Igbo land. That's why there are a lot of conflict, and this is the situation up to now, because land does not expand. Because it is how Allah wants it, and it is there, so that's the end of the story, So, and in fact, in some Igbo districts, there are over, 800 people, per square mile, But in northern Nigeria, it's not more than 100, So that's why, because the Igbo really realize that this population density is a big problem, because, eastern part of Nigeria has the highest population density, anywhere in Nigeria. So people say that Igbo land has the highest population density in Africa. So that's why they are squeezed. They have to, because if you are squeezed, you have to fight. In fact, even in our own case here, if you have a very, very small house, maybe row and palm, but you have 10 children, it means they are going to be crashed all the time in the house. So this is what is happening in that part of the country. And with so many people on land, food deficit became inevitable because agriculture could not support the local population. Because the land there is not really fertile. Sickle forested area, and clearing land is extremely difficult. So that's why the Igbo feel that we have to check out, we have to find new means of livelihood. They are recognized for railway, so which means they are pushed and then they are pulled by what's happening in other parts of the country. And this means the Igbo were forced to come to Kano and the other parts of northern Nigeria, especially Kaduna, Makurdi, Jos, among others, because of unfavorable environmental conditions. There is no doubt that the condition there is not very, very favorable. The soil in several parts of Igbo land can hardly support anything more than subsistence agriculture. This was what forced many young Igbo to quest for alternative sources and the means of livelihood outside their homeland. They immigrated to all regions of Nigeria, but especially the north. Kano and Kaduna were the most attractive areas throughout the colonial period because of the job opportunities. There are a lot of job opportunities in Kano. Because remember, that was during colonial era. So there were a lot of job opportunities, which were not available in Igbo land. More jobs existed in the north because in the program of colonial development, Igbo land had either been neglected or accorded priority. The British that occupied Nigeria, they realized that there is nothing in Igbo land except palm oil. Except palm oil, and the British feel that they don't have much need of it. So really, they do not put a lot of infrastructure. They don't try to develop anything. So this is what encourage. A large number of people to feel that look, we can't stay any longer in that environment of check out. So therefore, this problem of Igbo land, it became compounded because prior to discovery of oil in eastern region in the late 1950s, the only economic resource of the Igbo was farm produce, which colonial administration did very little or even nothing to expand in a way that will benefit the people. This underlies the reason for the forceful migration of many young Igbo to areas outside Igbo land. Kano was an ideal choice because of opportunities in imperialist commercial companies that increased from 18 to 90 from 18 in 1913 to 32 and 1929. It's shown in tables 1 and 2. So please, you can show tables 1 and 2. So what you are saying is that because of the opening and because of the railway system that has extended to Kano, large number of imperialist companies that were initially based only in Lagos, they now moved to Kano. Because Kano has been an old commercial center. And they have heard about it. There are a lot of historical reports, by Henry Bass, by so many other people. Said, look, this Kano is a center of commerce. It's a cosmopolitan society. So that's why all these companies, because they moved from 13, from 18 in 1913 to 32 in 1929. As shown in table 2 and 2. Those commercial farms until the extension of railroad were operating only in Lagos. However, from 1911, when the line reached Kano and opened to traffic in 1912, several large European companies moved to Kano with rapidity. These companies, they are various types. They are Europeans, they are Greeks, they are Arabs, and so on and so forth. I think in table 1 and 2, I can put the picture. This, I'm on table. But apart from colonial trading companies, Igbo were also attracted to Kano because of opportunities in Kano Native Authority, where clerical, technical, semi-professional staff are required to man the various departments set up to facilitate colonial administration. After the colonial conquest, the colonial government set up a lot of so many departments, to facilitate colonial administration. Some of such departments, for example, in Kano include, there was Pege dispensary, it became operational in 1921. A prison was built in Gorodus in 1924. There was a police barrack in 1929. There's the public works department also in 1929. There's the Kano City Hospital in 1930. So many departments were, established. This department, they needed people with Western, literacy. They needed, people, with Western literacy, not with Eastern literacy, not with the Arabic. Because the issue is that, when the British colonized northern Nigeria, they pronounce all, Islamic scholars as illiterates, unless they know how to read Roman numbers, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You have to know that, even if you are an Islamic scholar, and the British did that deliberately because they want to discourage the conduct of colonial administration in Arabic characters. Because they regard and argue that if they continue encouraging, running native authority, in all the Emirates with Arabic characters, they are indirectly encouraging the separation of Arabic and Islam. So that's why all Islamic scholars must go, you must go and learn this book, because the moment you learn it, of course you'll be given your IQ government. That's what happened. So that's why it's only men with this type of Western education that are qualified. They are men. Initially, once the colonial government and these trading firms, once you are facing the problem of this shortage of this, of staff, the colonial government tried to get Western educated people from India. India is also a British colony. So they tried to get personnel from India, but that experiment, it proved unworkable, probably because of the distance. So that's why they abandoned the idea of bringing Indians. Then later on they turned to Gold Coast and Sierra Leone, because these are the earliest parts of West Africa to get Western education. In fact, the first higher institution in West Africa is in Sierra Leone, because the Farabi College in Sierra Leone. So there are a lot of educated. So they started inviting Ghanaians, and Sierra Leoneans, to come and man the colonial administration. But that one is also impossible. So that's why they, after they turn to, try not to Igbo. After I said that they can do, but try not to Igbo. And because at that time, the Igbo, among all Nigerian tribes, the Igbo was the tribe that embarrassed Western education with all seriousness, because the Igbo believes that the British colonized Nigeria not because of number, but because of superiority of knowledge. So that's why throughout the colonial era and beyond, because the Igbo, they believe in educating their children, in the Western sense, of the word. So therefore, since early colonial era, therefore, early colonial era, village improvement unions, they supported children of the poor by providing scholarships to attend the schools. Because in Igbo land, until after the Civil War, everybody attend schools. In fact, there are a large number of Igbo in Western Nigeria, because Yoruba used to be leading in Western education. So that's why and so Igbo sent a lot of the children to Western Nigeria, And so from 1930s, Igbo were represented in Yaba High College and quite a number of Nigerian secondary schools than any other group in the country. Indeed, the saying that knowledge is power, it captured the imagination of the Igbo. They reasoned that the British dominated Nigeria not because of their numerical strength, but due to their spiritual knowledge. So therefore, the quest to Western education therefore became a matter of life and death to Igbo. Initially in Nigeria, due to historical reasons, I'm sure people in professional education, they have better knowledge than this than myself. So initially in the country, due to historical reasons, the Yoruba had upper hand in the education of their children. This explains why the idea of universal education was first started in Western region. The Western region of Nigeria started, for UPE in 1955, but the Igbo were competing. After they launched their own in 1957. And the Igbo, in actual fact, from 1950 started sending their sons and daughters to Europe and America for higher education, all with the hope of eventual domination of the country. That was the aim of Igbo education, to dominate the country, politically. That was one major aim. I said that's their hope. That's why they send people like Mbadwe, the man of Tumba and Calabar, Panamanda Azukwe, see people like Erozo and the others. They all send them, to Europe and the United States, for Western education. And of course they came back, educated. And Chukwumeka Odumega Ojukwu was the first Nigerian graduate in the Nigerian army. He was the first graduate, and because his father sent him to University of Cambridge, he did not come back until with a master's degree in history. So when he came back, he joined the Nigerian army. In fact, that's what made him to be so arrogant that General Gowon should not rule Nigeria. Because it's probably a scandalous failure. Because most of our men in uniform in those days, so there's a scandalous failures. So that's yes. So so Chukwumeka Odumega Ojukwu was educated in Oxford University, where he graduated in 1955 with a master's degree in history. He returned to Nigeria and joined the Nigerian army, and he became the first senior military officer of with the university degree. There are a lot of eminent Igbo like Dr. Manza Adikwe, Kinsley, Mbadwe, Mwafa, Orezu, Mazi, Ojike. They were great pioneers, that want, they tried to get foreign scholarships, to the Igbo, children. Probably this is what we lack in northern Nigeria. I said our members of Idaho Conceptual Forum, they don't do that one, but this is what these people have done since 1960s. In fact, Igbos are so, they are so, educated in this time that at Kenneth Dike, he was the first Nigerian vice chancellor. Dike, he was the first Nigerian vice chancellor at University of Ibadan. That's he became professor in 1956. Then there are some others also. Jobu, he was the vice chancellor of the University of Lagos. But you can see, the Igbo in Yoruba land, they have dominated the intellectual or the academic, cycle. That's what brought a lot of conflict in the western region of Nigeria. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that the Igbo they were recruited due to the level of their Western education, and say they were, say they can, say because at that time they were recruited as clerks, as bookkeepers, as accountants, as teachers, and as lawyers, as administrators, and in various administration platforms. So that's it. So Igbo were employed, they were attracted, they came. After they started arriving to Kano, they became the most popular prominent traders as well as dominant colonial clerks and secretaries. The first area of the settlement, when they came to Kano, was Sabangari. It was a residential area carved out by colonial government for immigrant communities. One major problem brought to us by colonial administration is disallowing immigrant groups to stay with the host community. That's why they created Sabangari and the other segregated residential areas, because segregation, it was concomitant to political control. So throughout colonial era, there was segregation in the market, segregation of residential areas. For example, in Kano, there is Sabangari for what is the British call, non-natives and the native foreigners. The people they call native foreigners, they are Africans who are not Nigerians. That's the name they give them, native foreigners. Then there are then non-native, like Yoruba, like Igbo, like Igala, like Idoma. So that's Sabongari. Then there is Syrian quarter, for Arabs, for Greeks. Then there is for GRA, and for European personnel. So what I'm trying to say is that segregation, very, very important, on colonialism. In fact, this segregation is it's racism. It's racism. But unfortunately, some of us, we copied it. Unconsciously, for example, the British colonial government, when the government that created the idea of GRA, GRA for government workers. That's government presidential area. Initially it's called government segregated residential area. And in that area, there is boys quarters. Boys quarters is for blacks. And according to colonial government, boys quarters must be 440 yards away from the main house because of the ill health contamination of the black. So you can see a lot of our elites now, they will build mighty house, they will build boys quarters, far away from the house. And for what reason? This lack of historical knowledge is what is making our bourgeoisie and petit bourgeoisie to start constructing houses and the boys quarters, just in order to show people that no, you are different. Maybe you are smelling, you are so on and so forth. So those part of it. So the colonial government is responsible for this created it. So this part, explain why the British, created, Savangari system, and this is creation of Savangari for immigrant groups to stay. It contradicted the pre-colonial policy in the whole Nigerian Emirates. Because during the Emirate period, Muhammad Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto, he was the one who tried to encourage the creation of cosmopolitan society in all the Emirates. That according to Muhammad Bello, all migrant groups, including non-Muslims, should be accommodated, within the host community because they can be potential converts to Islam. So that's what happened in Kano for a long time. But when the British came, they discarded that issue. They introduced, presidential form of segregation. And probably, throughout social society, most migrant groups they remain self-centered. They remain inward-looking as all they do socialize with the host community. So there was no socialization. But in the colonial period, all migrant groups are coming to socialize with the host community. Like people, for example, they are living inside Kano still up to now. They are living inside Kano. I'm sure you have heard about Professor Ibrahim Ayagi. Ayagi means Yoruba. It means Yoruba in different language. Please, if there is a little man here, you can correct it. So it's not the meaning of Ayagi. So anybody who lives in Ayagi, is Yoruba. So that is the dominant area. In fact, this Ayagi is very, very close to Kuni market because most of these migrants are traders. So they accommodated there. And large number of people became Muslims because of that. But the colonial government, they created this situation, and this, for the local population, because it was the immigrant rule, colonial rule, they are far away, they became unorganized. So probably, if we are looking for the reason for conflict between migrant and host, we have to refer to this issue. I mean, the colonial system, a policy of residential, segregation, because it separated people. People only meet, at official places, maybe in the market, maybe in workplaces, and so on and so forth. So therefore, when Igbo started studying in Savangari, there are already quite a number of other migrant groups, and the 1937 Kano population statistics as shown in table 3 estimated 1,509 Igbo as against 1,547 Igbo. So which means the Igbo were last to come, but from 1930s they are trying to keep the dominant factor. In 1943, there were 3,580 Igbo as compared to 2,140 Yoruba. So now Igbo became the dominant group, in Kano. In 1954, the Igbo constituted more than 50% of the entire southern Nigerian immigrant group, a total of 12,770 persons, as against 5,174 Yoruba. Thank you very much. Okay, 935, I mean, I'm from Urugu and the Sekiri, 906, Epic and Ibido, 446 Benin, Ishan and Edo. And, so that's it. And, so which means now, by 1950s, or just by the eve of World War I, Second World War, Igbo have already become the dominant tribe because they kept a large number. I've already told you that they are pushed. The environmental problem there, push them. No food. No food. There are a lot of conflicts, scarcity of land. Even to build the houses. It's an issue. So they are pushed to areas where opportunities are available. Of course, Kano is one of the areas, opportunity because of the colonial system in northern Nigeria. It paid a lot of attention to Kano, because of the historical, position of Kano as a center, of commerce. Now, but let's see, and things continue to improve. Now let's see Igbo community during the Second World War. The Second World War was a landmark to Igbo migrants in Kano in several ways. Because it was the period when Igbo exploited the challenges of situation to establish new forms of businesses. The fact of the matter is that, Nigeria during the Second World War, it was a key country in African theater of the war. So that's why a lot of the British and the American troops, they were stationed in Kano. And even in that Kano, the British and the American troops during the Second World War, they were stationed in Sabongari. They were stationed in International Hotel, which is located in Inaugural, number 12 to number 16. This International Hotel, which used to be one of the biggest hotels in Kano, and it was a hotel belonging to Mr. F.E. Okonko, who was the President General of Igbo at the State Union. He was that who built the hotel. So American troops and British were stationed there. So which means certain services are required. So the Igbos, they exploit this opportunity. They exploit this opportunity because during war situation, normally government or state will not have the chance to do certain things. So that's why they have to employ the services of certain people. So it was during this time that the services of Igbo, were needed, and so Igbo established modern businesses. One of the businesses that they established was modern transportation, industry, which benefited the Igbo greatly. During this period, a number of Igbo-owned vehicles were used in transporting troops and supplies between Nigeria and the Chad during the war. And as a consequence, some earliest Igbo transporters in Kano, they emerged. There are some earliest Igbo transporters. The issue is that Igbo, they have, historically, it was the past part of Nigeria. To get, this, modern transportation. That's why you see that even the driver who was sent to Sokoto to drive the car of Sultan is an Igbo. Oh, his name is DK. He was the one. So Igbos, they are the people who know how to drive, because they are the dominant in all forms of transportation, including the use of bicycles and so on and so forth. Of course, I will tell you, how. So the Igbo therefore became transporters, and I mentioned so. Please, let's see that table. Of Igbo transporters in Kano. There is Mr. Pajidiofo, there is F.A. Okonko, M.N. Monike, C.L. Omedu, the Emad, transporters, they made an enormous profit and accumulated capital, which they later utilized to establish other businesses. One kind of transporters union was formed in 1962. A prominent Igbo, Mr. F.A. Okonko, became the past president. Table 4 show the names of farmers transporters in Kano and their annual income in 1942. So please, table 3 and 4, I think so this I did, also due to this new opportunity during the Second World War, there was mass settlement of Igbo to Kano, and consequently, Igbo have now outnumbered the Yoruba as dominant immigrant group. In the mid-1950s, the Igbo constituted 59% of total southern Nigerian immigrant group in Kano, while the Yoruba formed only 24%. And another important venture that a large number of Igbo joined during the Second World War was contract business. The colonial government during the Second World War provided contracts for supply of goods and services to British and American troops stationed in Kano. One of the most famous Igbo contractor of the time was Mr. Humphrey E. Adinso, who had under his employment over 600 laborers and subcontractors in 1942. In 1943, he was believed to have made a profit of £8,000 from £25,000 military contract he was awarded by the native authority. And other Igbo who became contractors, apart from Adinisu, include Zebu, whose annual income in 1949 was £698, J.B. Moses, and others, as shown in Table 5. Aye. Yes. So let's see table 5, please. And it is worth noting also that before the Nigerian Civil War, the Igbo as shown in table 6 were the most predominant non-indigenous classes by age. You know, there's normally this, granite trade. You know, the big companies that you listed, they normally appoint to the LBS, license paid agents. Normally they are for local people. But Igbo, they became also amongst the dominant license paying agents. I think the only indigenous merchants who was the more dominant was Alhassan Antata, and because Alhassan Antata, he was the wealthiest man in Kano because he was the sole agent of UAC in this granite and cotton trade, and he employed many Igbos in such areas as drivers, as clerks, and laborers. So you can see that necessity was what making even our local merchant class to employ Igbo in certain services, because this issue of Western education, is required and it's necessary. And people like Alhassan Antata, was the father of Amir Antata, was the great grandfather of Ahmed Dangote. I think he was Western educated person, because he's speaking good English and so on and so forth. So that's why he has to employ that number of Igbo. And in fact, in 1929, it is believed that Alhassan Antata, he was the wealthiest man in West Africa. Because during that time, he deposited in BBWA. BBWA is British Bank of West Africa, which is the past bank now. It was brought to Nigeria in 1898. Then that bank was taken to Kano in 1929. During that year, Alhassan Antata, he deposited 20 camel loads of silver coins in the bank. He was the first note of red bank, But yet, he has to rely on so many Igbo people, for certain services. But one thing that we should know about all this dominance of Igbo is the role of Igbo State Union. This Igbo State Union. This Igbo State Union play a role in enhancing community solidarity and making the able to operate as an exclusive community. That's what brought it, and what is bringing such problem. Because this Igbo State Union initially it was formed in 1938 as Igbo Union. There is no question of state there. But later on, they changed the name of the union to Igbo State Union, and it became a political force. They call it Igbo political force. It was affiliated with SC, and what they wanted is to try to get political dominance of the country. So that's why after January 1962, General was, he banned, this, Igbo State Union because of his affiliation, to politics. Of course, he banned the union not because he hated Igbo, but because he wanted to remain in power. Because he was one, because he do target to certain skills, So by the time of independence, the Igbo State Union had over 10,000 members in Kano. Because it's a must, but we must join it, So this union was what made the Igbo in Kano to be, segregated and exclusive. Of course, they isolated themselves, It is this Igbo State Union that made Igbo to refuse all forms of integration. In fact, that has been a big challenge, to Igbo. Unlike several other, tribal groups, I'm staying in Kano. You can see Igbo is speaking of fluent Hausa, but still, that Igbo-ness, that Igbo-ness is still there, That's a big problem. But for Yoruba, a lot of people, you cannot say that they are Yoruba. I told you the example, Ibrahim, so many people, even the former Secretary Yoruba Kano, Anaji Abdullah Salis Olo, I use that so much. So many others, because they are Hausa people, they marry Hausa ladies, and so on and so forth. But even this intermarriage, it has been absent. Even during the time, even before Nigeria Civil War. So therefore, the union made provision of variety of activities, to the members in Kano. That is, the Igbo State Union said that the Igbo must be self-sufficient. The Igbo became self-sufficient, including establishing Igbo Union Grammar School in Kano. So please, Maybe let's see table number 7. Please, table number 7. Yes. So if you look at this table, you see that this is 1961. It's even grammar school, Kano. In the staff list, I've looked at the nature of staff list. There are people with master's degree, those with BA degree, and look at their salaries. There is basic salary, there's inducement, there's preparation allowance, total. Then there is current allowance. So this is it. So they established this school in order to take care of Igbo people because the school was exclusively for Igbo children in Kano. Not even Yoruba, not even neighboring tribal ethnic groups that migrated to Kano in this time. In fact, that's why after the coup, the premises of the school was confiscated. It is in that premises of the school that I started the secondary school. Because for the state government, it confiscated for the place. So that's why I say that I started secondary school in the midst of Igbo, in the premises of the staff. Now the premises is used for Kano State Art Science, in Airport Road, and a lot of the secondary school. It's a very, very mighty place. So this is it. So this is what really made Igbo to be, exclusive, to segregate themselves. The Igbo State also perform other valuable functions, and at the end it became the strongest tribal union not only in Kano but northern Nigeria. It maintained network of membership throughout the country, discharges selected nationalist revolutionary political function. It should be noted at this juncture that the exclusiveness of Igbo since that time, Amut was strongly enhanced by the union. It placed them in a highly precarious position when the colonial government was strong. During colonial era, things were tolerated, but once the colonial government has gone, people started to raise questions about the activities of Igbo State Union. This became one of the challenges the Igbo community has been facing since then. The issue of political isolation is still a problem. Not Igbo. As now, just because they are not articulated. So there's the issue. So to most Igbo, now let's see what happened to Igbo during the Nigerian Civil War. To most Igbo in Kano, the Nigerian Civil War was a devastating period economically because it forced them to abandon their enterprises. Before the war, the Igbo took advantage of every opportunity as either traders in secondary market, where they bought and constructed stores, or transporters, or contractors, or civil servants. They monopolized jobs in the railway, in banking, telecommunication, other government services, as well as teachers in school. In fact, I was taught in my primary school with quite a number of Igbo teachers, because a lot of them they were teaching, in primary school, because they are all over northern Nigeria, including villages. Indeed, the Igbo are so successful to the extent that they established other forms of revenue-generating enterprises. I want to, if the time comes, how many minutes? How many minutes first? Oh, 15 minutes. Inshallah, we'll try to make it. So what you are trying to say is that they have almost lost everything. It should be noted that even at the national level, at that time, that before the civil war, even the international level, Igbo occupied 45% of the country's labor force in public sector in the whole, and before the Nigerian civil war. For example, they occupied 270 out of 431 senior posts in railway corporation. Before even after the time of civil war, the Igbo occupied 270 out of 431 senior posts in railway corporation. In Nigerian Port Authority, there are 73 of 104 senior posts. By the early independent period, the Igbo, as argued, were even heading the premier universities in Yoruba land. I've explained that. They were heading, they were leading, they were the vice chancellors of Yoruba land. So that's what we were intensified conflict and crisis in Western Nigeria, because there were a lot of Igbo intellectuals in Yoruba land. And they were, of course, the moment you have, non-Yoruba, vice chancellors, of course, they will invite more Igbo to come. So that's what brought a lot of problems. especially in the University of Lagos, fighting between Njoku and Saburi Nugabu over the National University of Lagos. But the civil law, it destroyed of every single evil. The civil law, it posed many challenges to Igbo community and the commercial enterprise in Kano, because only a few fortunate Igbo were able to secure their valuable properties. The Vice Salasa. Even though how the civil law affected Igbo in Kano and other parts of northern Nigeria has been one of the most popular discourses in the history of the diaspora community in northern Nigeria. There is one unresolved issue, which has not been given much attention, is how to create opportunities and even became a blessing to indigenous market class in Kano. That's my this civil law. It's advantageous to Kano market class. In fact, it is no blessing. At times in life, war is good. Yes, war is good because war will normally bring opportunity to the other side. This is common. The United States do not participate in World War I, do not participate in Second World War. Immediately after Second World War, it became the dominant power. Because during the time when they were not participating, they were producing military equipment and selling them to Britain, to France, to Germany, and others. They are killing themselves. So at the end of the war, all other European countries, they were bankrupt, but United States and Europe start rising. So that's the blessing of war. To United States, First World War, Second World War, even Nigeria. We had the Arab-Israeli conflict in 1972. When it escalated, it was what brought blessings to Nigeria. Without that escalation of Arab-Israeli conflict in 1972, there would not be oil boom in Nigeria. Yes, because the moment that war started, Nigerian petroleum, became the major source of supply to all the Europeans and Americans. So you can see that war can be a blessing. So it's the same. Nigerian civil law is a blessing to Kanawa. Yes, and as we are happy about it. Yes, but we are not praying for another civil law. We are not praying for another war. So the issue is that obviously I cannot be able to cite all examples, but I will cite some few. Indigenous market class. When the civil law started, they occupied all the market stores in Samoa. The issue is that before the Nigerian civil law, there was no single house person in Samoa market. Because this is the market that was created for no indigenous by the colonial government. The only person that you could consider indigenous in Samoa market during that time was Abacha Meduguri, the father of Sani Abacha. So he was only one. Maybe it's Hausa, maybe it's Kanuri, maybe it's Godogodo. A lot of things they have been said about him. But because he was also a Sabongari man, because Sani Abacha was born in Sabongari area, their house is number 5 area road, and they left Sabongari after the 1953 Kano riot. Then they moved to Kogi, So all house elements they left there. So the only person in Sabongari, before the war was Sani Abacha, But of course there are some few Yoruba like Alaji Sani Jiwa, Akiole, like Jiji, Sani Olu, as a leader, a Yoruba businessman, in Kano, Colonial era, and even up to the post-colonial era. So now also people, because they moved to Sabongari market and occupied these market stores. Some of the agitations now by some Igbo is that the market stores have been occupied. But the fact of the matter is that those market stores that are abandoned by Igbo, they were officially occupied by the state, by government, because the government did not want to continue producing for revenue. Of course, it called all the Igbos that left to come back and take over the stores, but they refused to come back. That's why these stores, they are not allocated. So this issue of taking over abandoned properties by original people is a big challenge up to now in Nigeria. It's a big challenge in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Mokuri, and other areas where there was where there was a large number of people who dominated the economy. Because most of the enterprises over there know. But the painful story about this is that Hausa people took over this, market stores. But gradually, what Igbo started coming back, they started selling all these, stores. So that's a big problem. So you can see, that is the problem. I don't want to say stupidity, but probably I have to say it, but they sold all these markets gradually because they will be given, high, price. Then they'll just, accept it, and that's the end of the story. And that's it. So therefore, indigenous, merchants, they were establishing the market that was created purposely for indigenous. And if you look at table 8, please show us table 8. To see farmers trade and farmers market by 1948. You will see that they're all Igbo. But there is Dr. D.O. Sanya Olu. D.O. Sanya Olu was a Yoruba businessman. In fact, he was the richest Yoruba businessman throughout the colonial era. He was the one who, he established the second hotel in Kano, which is, initially called a colonial hotel, but he changed the name, to Paradise, Hotel. Then there is Alhaji Sani Jiwa, Akiode. He was working around Kano for a long time. So, so look at it. They're all Igbo. It is pertinent at this level of this lecture to state that the negative impact of civil law on Igbo was not limited to what happened to them alone in Kano, but in all over. Probably if you read maybe if you have a copy of the lecture, you can be able to see, what happened in Mokuli, what happened in Patako, what happened in Ibadan, and other areas. That's Igbo after the civil war. One thing about Igbo, after the civil war, but maybe before that, I want to say that most Igbo lost their enterprises, but there are some few Igbo who were able not to lose much or not to lose anything. For example, one of the Igbo persons who did not lose much is Chief J.D. Egbe, the Ozoma of Ezi, and bringing his name. Because this guy, he came to Kano in 1948, to work in Kano Mixed Court. Those who are lawyers, what is it, for Mixed Court? It's a court with a mixed jurisdiction. All tribal groups in Kano, they are in that court. So he came to work in that court, 1948. One Sarki Sunusi, the grandfather of this, other emir of Kano. When he was the emir of Kano, there are two emirs in Kano. So this was Chief Judge and he became closest person to Emir Sunusi. But he was even given traditional title by Emir Sunusi. In fact, once Emir Sunusi was removed by Sardauna, Chebi, this man was also indicted. Because he used to have over 250 plots of land in Kano. Extremely rich. My surprise is that I tried to interview this person, but he refused to see me. In fact, he even warned me that if I come to his house again, he will send me to court. So at the end of the day, I have to leave him. Because all Igbos that I interviewed was that apparently they asked me to go and see him. So I was in the house several times. But then later, he realized that really I was insisting. He said, I must have that, I should keep away. Otherwise, he's going to appeal to me. So honestly, I kept him away. Yes. Because I know, so this is one of the people. Then there is another person, Chief Dibia Maka. He's a bandit Igbo. He has the, Champion Hotel. He was able also to secure his property. So that's it. What's it about Igbo after the civil war is that new migrants, because they have Igbo returnees, those who left Kano because of civil war. But as some new Igbo migrant, so many young Igbo came because of the massive destruction which the civil war caused in that part of the country. They have to come. Because even Onitsha market was completely destroyed. Onitsha market is the largest market in West Africa, but it was burned to ashes. So which means the Igbo youth, they have to move to Kano and other parts of northern Nigeria. So no Igbo market. And so they came. And maybe one thing that I want to also emphasize, at this time, is that when, because of the situation for the pound themselves, the Igbo now says that they are going to be non-political. Because they clearly say that they are politically lost, everything. Because they are very, very ambitious. They are ambitious to politically control the country. Before the colonial era ended, they military coup and others, but they are defeated. So that's why now they say they lost everything. So which means now they say they have to turn to business. And by for some time, they abandon seeking any form, all forms of higher, of higher education. Maybe it was only in 1990s, 2000 that they returned back and started going to school. But before that, they say that they are people dislocated and they just have to give up. And so many businesses emerge. I just want to mention two. Then maybe I'll conclude. An important opportunity that gave Igbo a lot of advantages after the Civil War was Nigerian Enterprise Promotion Decree. What is happening to Igbo in Kano? It's like what is happening in the wider Nigerian society. In 1977, there was NEPD, Nigerian Enterprise Promotion Decree. This is a decree that makes certain, benches, exclusively for indigenous, and some for non-indigenous. So for the Igbo, they were able to exploit this, NEPD, to register a lot of companies, just small scale companies, and start replacing the foreign funds. For example, in furniture making is one of the businesses exclusively reserved for Nigerians in Schedule number 1, number 5 of NEPD. Before the decree, the Mokari Metal Wood Factory Limited, it was founded in 1959 by Lebanese, was the largest furniture firm supplying, all, houses and institutions in Kano. But this factory had only two Nigerians as partners, when it was formed. These partners were Alhaji Snus Antata and the Alhaji Alhatu South, who owned 20% of the shares. When there is second schedule of NPD in 1977, indigenization decree, then that increased the number of Nigerian partners. Then, Alhaji Ahmad Kali, Chief Owoboro, and Alhaji Bello Musa became additional partners. So what's about Igbo is that they exploited this opportunity of NPD and they started, producing, furniture. They started, and the advantage which Igbo were able to get is that the Mokalim furniture factory, which is foreign, they were facing the problem of getting raw material, which is wood. But most of this wood, as of it is from Igbo land, most of this wood, is from the plantations. There are plantations in the eastern part of the country, especially in Suka, in Asaba, in Abakaliki, and the Calabar forestry. So which means the Igbo timber traders, they only supply you. So that's how Igbo became very, very dominant in the furniture business. And also Igbo became dominant in spare part business in Nigeria. The reason is because the spare part business is started in the mid-1930s when let Chief Ojukwu, the father of Udumil Ojukwu, pioneered the business. The father of Udumil Ojukwu used to be the richest man in Nigeria. One quick elder visited Nigeria in 1962. The Nigerian government, it loaned his Rolls Royce, to go around, he was extremely rich, so he was done pioneer, this business, from his, from Anambra, Inewi. So that's why now all spare part sellers in northern Nigeria or in Nigeria, they are from Inewi local government of Anambra State. So they were the people who encouraged them. Yes, remember 5 minutes. I'll just go now. No problem. There's also Igbo textile business. Textile business was dominated by the Lebanese, but Igbos, they were able to penetrate. They displaced a lot of houses. For example, there is one Hausa man. His name is Alhaji Abubakar Bokarali. He was the one who occupying particular shop in Kantukwe. He was textile trade. Initially, he was paying £6,000, but the Igbo approached the landlord His name is Alhaji Sadi, in Kano, his local city. In fact, I met him. He said that he was going to pay 30 pounds. Sorry, yes, I mean 30,000, naira. This man was paying 6,000. Of course, the landowners, he agreed. So that's why all Hausa people, they were displaced from textile trade and replaced by Igbo trade. Because Igbo trade, they were able to pay high rent. So this was the situation. Unfortunately, I do not provide detailed information on all these things because of the, maybe I don't want to say harassment I'm getting from the chairman, but that's it. Maybe just let me go to acknowledgement. It is extremely important to start this acknowledgement by first and foremost expressing my gratitude to Allah for keeping us alive, making it possible for me to make this presentation today. Secondly, I must thank my parents who nursed and encouraged me to pursue both Islamic Western education at a very early age. I pray to Allah to forgive my late father and give my mother, who is still alive, give her good health and strength to enable her continue, and worshiping Almighty Allah. Of course, so many people were involved in supporting me to be what I am today. Foremost, as the Vice Chancellor of this university, starting from Professor Shaw Galadenchi, during his tenure, I joined the services of the university. There is also late Professor Madi Adamu, my Oga on the top, in history discipline. There's the late Professor Egwandu, Dr. Zayan Abdullahi, Professor Aminu Salu Nika Inu. I think, I don't know whether he's also a Muslim, because most of us have titles. I don't know whether, then there is, Professor Tijani Kondia, the district head of Bessie, Professor A. Zuru, who was my classmate, and also who is the Emerson Zuru, then Professor Ruskwa, is the Emerson Ngindi, and the Professor S. Bigis. And let me say without clear contradiction that all the vice chancellors of this university have been very supportive and assuring both at official and the personal level. I must also at this juncture extend my regards to the incumbent vice chancellor for participating in today's lecture. I'm wishing him Allah's guidance, so that he pushes the university, to a higher level. I'm also indebted to my lecturers in the persons of late Professor John Labas, late Professor Isa Balkani, late Professor Ayraya, late Professor Nur Al-Kani, late Professor Abdullah Mahdi, late Professor M.T. Mina, late Professor P.G. Sheikh. I mean, you can see the outline. And we're also going there one day. I think that's how our students will be saying. And the blue ones that are alive, Professor Murlas, Professor David Smith, and Professor Paul Lebeck in the University of California. I'm still happy to want to know them. This Paul Lebeck, he worked, he wrote a book titled The Making of Muslim Working Class in Kano, Nigeria. And I supported him in writing for the book. It's a very, very good book. Then those personalities have mentored, guided, encouraged, and supported me in so many different ways, including building in me the interest of scholarship. Indeed, those lecturers are my source of inspiration. I'm also grateful to all my colleagues in the Department of History and International Studies for being with me and for supporting me in so many different ways. I'm indeed happy that the department is operating, as a family by supporting one another in different ways, including financial support whenever the need arises. I'm very lucky and happy that I belong to that department, not any other department in the university. The Vice Chancellor, sir, let me say something which the department will not authorize me to say, and that is the Department of History and International Studies, to the best of my knowledge, is the only department in the university where staff members agree to make a monthly contribution of 2,000 naira each for the upkeep and day-to-day running of the department. I said the department has been doing that for 4 years and will continue to do it because we believe that it's our department and we have to always make it alive and vibrant. And that's why we are lucky and we are being supported by some of our former students and staff, and so on and so forth. And I will not forget also to tender my appreciation and best wishes to all my neighbors in Federal House and Authority quarters. Those neighbors are great personalities. I'm happy that I'm staying with good people whose behavior reflect the true and genuine spirits of Islam as exemplified by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Who always treated his neighbors with the extreme kindness and consideration. The university has certainly done so much for me and my immediate family, my wife and woman and all my children, have benefited, they have been educated in this university. My children, Maimuna, Abdurrahman, Aisha, Shukriya, Safiya, Muhammad, Farooq, and Amin have been trained in the university. To my wife, I say thank you for the patience and supporting and keeping the children in our company. Of course, I will forever remain grateful to members of my extended family for their support and encouragement in different ways. My senior brother, Professor Bibi Ambata, and all others. I'm indebted to them. I also owe a lot of thanks to my classmates in VA degree history in Bayero University, Kano. And coincidentally, all my classmates in the UK, they're all professors in university. Even though some of them they have retired because of old age. And since I'm still young, I'm not yet retired. Yes. And those classmates of Professor Sam Al-Basu, Professor Indi Suleiman, Professor Ibrahim Khalil, and Professor Ahmed Fai. They are still there, they are still in the university system, either on contract or on tenure. And also to my numerous students, thank you for wonderful support and prayers. And my appreciation also goes to my Igbo friends, especially Agu Ezeta, Chief Ojumba, Chinyaremeka, Chief Dibemaka, Chief Akuna today. I must also thank my members of my faculty, the professors, the deans, the deputy dean, the HODs, the exam officers, and all others. Thank you for your support and friendship. May Allah protect us all from all forms of calamity. My gratitude also goes to the chairman, secretary, and members of the University Inaugural Lecture Committee for making all necessary arrangements that make this event possible and successful. I must also acknowledge Haji Ben Jabo, who is in charge of this whole for hospitality and friendship. Finally, I say with a high sense of humility, Alhamdulillah, and I feel khairan to those I mentioned and to those I did not mention. May Allah provide us all and my best is my.
Can we please give him a standing ovation? Can we please give him a standing ovation? Yes. This is Professor Ahmed Bako, the 50th inaugural lecture. He has been the chairman of the University Inaugural Lecture Committee for 17 years. I just took over from him some couple of months ago. And maybe very soon, who knows, I may present my own. I will shift down from presenting from 99. I will come maybe before 60 and present my own self. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, you consider, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, we've listened to Professor Ahmed Bako. And you see, in history, there is no denying fact, one cannot sit on the fence. Whatever we write is either for or against the society. Late Dr. Mahmoud Tukur of ABU Zaria once said, it is not only permissible for an historian to take side on history, but it is positively compulsory. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, we have a token that we are going to present to Professor Ahmed Bako. Can you please come forward and make the presentation? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Ajia and Umar and the kids, please join us on the stage. Please join us. Sir? Sir? Sir?
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have heard about the Igbo and Kano people relationship in commerce extensively from our inaugural lecture speaker today, who I believe there is no any other person that can make an enlightenment discussion as related to this topic than Professor Ahmed Babu. So please, can we give him another round of applause? But Professor Usman, in presenting the citation on the inaugural lecturer, there's something he was hiding, and he doesn't want to disclose to us. The relationship of the inaugural lecturer, having stayed 43 years in Sokoto, we don't know the relationship with Sakatawa. So we leave that close. We don't. It is still not late, but I will reserve my further comment on this. So, on behalf of the entire Usman Danfodio University community, and more importantly, the university management and the committee on inaugural lecture presentation, I wish to present this token as appreciation for your contribution towards the development of this university and the development of the entire human community. So we appreciate you. We wish you more success in your future endeavors, and we wish you long life. We wish your family long life and prosperity as well. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Anybody that has anything to present to our inaugural lecturer in view of time constraints, maybe you can do that on personal ground by approaching the guest lecturer. That can be done maybe later, either in his office or in his residence. So meanwhile, we still have this to present to you also as another token in appreciation of your lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. I will now use this opportunity to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor S.S. Ibrahim, to please come forward and give the vote of thanks. Dean, sir.
والله تجري تولي الحديث وأقرأ السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفاني مسلما ودخلني بالصالحين. Professor Ahmed Babu is one of the few senior colleagues that I have respect for at this university, for his humbleness, humility, and above all, intellectual capacity. Congratulations, sir. The MC has said that there is a representation of Igbo community here amongst us, but that representation has not been introduced to us. May we know who the representatives of the Igbo community are for recognition, please? Igbo kwenu, Igbo kwenu, Igbo kwenu. Kedu maka akụkọ? Ike ga-abụ ndị asuri. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's surprising that Professor Bago has not lived in well, there is no indication to show that he has lived in an Igbo community anywhere. I know they speak Igbo, but that's surprising that he has this engrafted love for the community, for the ethnic group. Why is it, sir? Thank you, sir. the Vice Chancellor, sir, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, deans and directors, thank you very much for coming here, and I wish you all the best. Congratulations to us all. Thank you.
Closing prayers. I would like to invite Professor Abdulganiu Ayodele Salao from the Faculty of Education and Extension Services to give us a closing prayer. Professor.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم لا ترجع لك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك ولك الحمد والثناء رب العالمين ولا نعبد إلا إياك ولا نستعين إلا إياك اللهم إنا كل رأس ما كان وقنا كل شيء رأس ما كان وأهدنا صراطك سويا دوما وتوفنا مسلمين وجعل دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Thank you, sir. The copies of this inaugural lecture is on sale at the entrance of the auditorium at a token of 500 naira. And other inaugural lecture that has been presented. Shall we all please rise for the national anthem? Thank you, and God bless. Good photograph outside the auditorium. We look forward to seeing you at the 51st edition of the inaugural lecture. Thank you all, and God bless.